All right, fam. You know what it is? Notion November day 7. That's right. This is our 7th day of attacking Notion, just trying all kind of crazy stuff, trying to figure this out. Now, I wish I could say that I had the brilliance to give you like a straight path of learning. And while that might be effective, that's not how my brain works. And so I'm assuming many of the people in my audience are the same way, because somehow I attract other neurodivergent people. So honestly, at this point in time, I am just playing along and trying random things and sharing what I'm learning on my journey. Maybe after I get through this 30 days, I'll be able to put together a nice Notion course that people can follow. However, even if that's the case, I still think it's cool to stick around and see what I'm doing, because it might spark an idea in your head, and then you could be like, I want to try this. Or even if you're unsure where to start, you can hit me up and say, hey, Doc, will you try this? Because I'm the person that's crazy enough to try anything, because I don't care if I break it, because I can probably fix it or pay somebody to fix it. So anyway, we're doing Notion November. And yesterday, I thought about this idea of building a book tracker or a reading database so I can keep track of the things that I'm learning, but also take notes on things as I go along and do a better job of retaining. Because one thing about becoming more vintage is you start to forget stuff. So I wanted a reference library of things that I could check myself. So we started. And yesterday I got stuck in this idea of where and how to get the book image to put in the database. As a matter of fact, it's probably better if I show you than talk about it. So let me jump over here. I should actually set up my Stream Deck to make this easier. This is the Notion November wiki page. And this is just where we're practicing and playing and talking to each other and, just keeping track of what's going on. But right here is the book database I built yesterday. And that is not the one that I want to see. I need to see this one. Okay, cool. So I was trying to figure out how to get this graphic in here. And then I figured out a couple ways we could do it is changing the cover image to be the book image. And then the other way that's probably possible is using this image. My guess is it's pulling it from the second, not the first. So let me just change the cover real quick just to see if my guess is correct. And my guess is correct. So if I were to open this page here and click upon this guy and delete it, it disappears from here. But if I were to go back in and maybe if I can undo that, will it undo? Uh-oh. I screwed it up. That's okay. I can grab the image again. It's not that big a deal. All I did for that was I went and I dragged the image from, what is that thing called? I dragged the image from Amazon and I dragged it in there. And I'm like, yo, listen, that's way too many steps for a nerd of my caliber. So you know what I thought of? I'm like, what if I could find a way to automate this? So I started thinking about it. I'm just dragging this image back in so we can put it back. And there you go. Ooh, let's go back to books. And there you go. So it's showing up there. So I thought to myself, whole stop, there has to be a way using the Amazon API to get all of that metadata that I was manually putting in and have it do it for me. Light bulb moment. Okay, check this out. I'm going to go back here again. I'm going to show you what I mean. So an API, if you're unfamiliar, is the application program interface. Is basically the people who develop apps give other developers a chance to do things with their app without having to open the app every time and press all these buttons. It's kind of like how in Ecamm, I can start and stop a live stream directly from the Ecamm front end. So if I was to click on this guy to press a new page, here's all of my stuff, right? So there's the Amazon link, the author, the cover image, the date, start and finish it. That won't be able to do that, but it would know the format, like what type of book it is. It would know the genre. It would know the publication date. And I don't really want to grab any ratings from them. I want to give it my own rating, but I could probably pull that. And then I could, of course, grab the URL. But then even so, I could come down here and make it like this is where I want the image property to land. So I'm like, whoa. So what if I were to add a property here? I don't believe there is a property for image. No, I don't think so. But I can have the image land over here in the first spot. So we could do that. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Check it out. Maybe if I do files and media and then the type is files and media. Yeah, that would be fine. So I think that's a good place for it to go. And let me check this again. If I can rename this, and we'll call this cover image. Cover image. Already exists in the database. It does? Let me check. I could be crazy. Oh, it does. It does say right there. Okay, so I don't need to do that. All right, we're good. We're good. I'm going to get rid of this one. I don't want to confuse this when we get in there. So anyway, long story short, here's what I did. I went over to my browser and I asked my friend ChatGPT what we can do. So let me explain to you how this went down. I said, could I build directly on a Notion page using some sort of automation or web lookup if pasted the link for a book? I didn't speak good English. If pasted the link for a book in Notion, that it could go get all of the key data that one would use, metadata, grab it and pull it back into the database somehow. So thinking this out loud, imagine pasting the link, have it grab the title, the offer, the cover, the published date, the current price, and use that information to fill the Notion database. And it was like, hello, dummy. Absolutely. And I was like, bet. And so how could it work? It said it would grab the notation, you would have the Notion database field like book link URL. And when you paste that link, Amazon, Goodreads, Audible, Apple Books, etc., an automation tool would notice that link and runs a little script. It'll fetch the metadata, open the API, extract the fields, blah, 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 and send that information back. It said tools to make this happen. Make.com, formerly Integramat. I didn't have a make.com. I just set one up, and that's what we're going to use, and I'll explain why in a second. When you see why I explain this in a second, and it makes sense, and I'm sorry the video is going to be longer than normal because I want to make sure you see the whole process so that when you have these kind of thoughts, you think it through similarly, maybe even better than the way that I did, okay? So it gave me the information and told me how it would work. Option B was Zapier. Now, I used Zapier before and I canceled it because everybody says Make is better. And the things that I was using Zapier for, I kind of stopped using. Then it says, or you could build a custom script with the Notion API. If you're comfortable with running a small script, Notion's API, Open Library API, Google Books API to get the metadata. A script through Node.js or Python that can watch your database, trigger manually, and then build a pseudo flow. So it kind of gave up with a process of how you would do it. Get the page from Notion, extract the URL, query Google Books API, and update the Notion page property. This is pro, fully customizable. But the con would be it requires hosting and running a script periodically, like a cron script or a GitHub action. I'm nerdy enough to do this, and this way would be free. But I'm like, yeah, I don't know if this is something like I want my friend Alicia to do this, because trust me, she reads more books than me. Same with Gretchen. I wanted them to be able to do it. So I said, let me stop and making it nerdy. Let's see if we can get it back down to simple. But of course, I wasn't that generous at first. I went through asking it all the more questions. So it gave me more options of how this could work. And one caught my eye. It says it's not going to do this correctly. It said the Amazon Product and Advertising API. Now, how do you get access to such a thing? I'm an Amazon influencer. Every time I tell you guys to click on the link down in the description below, it's an Amazon affiliate link. I get a little coin, you get the same price, it's not going to charge you, but that's how I keep the channel working, right? My Amazon affiliate income is getting a little bit terrible because I'm not always good at using the right links, which is why I invented my other thing that we talked about in the live stream if you was hanging out, and I can't talk much more about it because I'll get in trouble. Anyway, this thing will go and grab the price and the cover. It does require Amazon Associate account. I actually have that. If you don't have that, you're going to want to use the Google Books API. But hey, this all works. An Open Library also would work. It might not grab covers, but it also will work for older books. So say somebody like Gretchen, who has a large library of personal books, this might be able to help her out. So it gives us an example database setup. The book link, the title, the URL, the cover, the publisher, the published date, the price, the ratings, the status, and the review. I have most of these fields already in my setup. I could always go back in and make adjustments to it later. So then it said the no-code idea. Go away with that little click box. Beat it. Okay. The no-code idea would use make.com, trigger a Notion database, build the book link, parse the link, detect which platform, Amazon, Audible, Goodreads, and then do a request to the API to go get this information and then update the Notion. Runs automatically every few minutes. I was like, gangster. Would you like me to build a ready-to-made make.com blueprint or Notion API plus Python script to run that? And I was like, wait a minute. I meant to say, would it be better to do Zapier or N8N? And it gave me a bunch of stuff I'm going to skip over because they both will work, but at the end of the day, they didn't work as good as what I came up with for Make, Chat came up with for Make. So let's go down a little bit more. I'm going to keep going. I said, more questions. I actually have an Amazon influencer account. I believe the Amazon Associate ID does being in, and I believe I have an Amazon Associate ID. Actually, I knew that, but I said it wrong. Does being an Amazon influencer or being in the Amazon affiliate program give me access to the API? And it's like, yes, it gave me the breakdown. What are the difference? I actually have Amazon influencer and Amazon associate. So both of the above are going to work for me. And then it says how the API keys work. And it explained that. We can skip over. And then it goes, how this fits into your Notion API. And it went back to talking about N8N. I don't want to use N8N because I want to use what I think is the easiest for you guys. So we kind of went over that. It gave me some more. It did tell me what the problems could be. And I kept going. I go, both Amazon influencer accounts. Let me look to see if I have access to the keys. I did. I didn't ask it to. It tried, but I do have those keys. Okay, so I went and got that. It gave me the links to those various pages. Cool. So far, so etc. This is all works. And then it says, okay, open this menu and go to get this credentials. And I went there. I'm in the right place. That works. Okay. Check your access success. I did all of that. We're all good. I do have both keys. Here's what I need. The access key, the secret access key, and my associate ID. This is my associate ID, so I know it understood that. It remembered that from a different conversation. And it goes, if you don't see that, you got to go back to the old plan. But anyway, we got all of that. And I said both keys and secret access keys, so I think I'm good to go. I have access to all of these programs. I'm in the U.S., but it normally switches between the foreign programs automatically because it does. If you happen to live in the UK and you click on my link, it would normally take you to the correct page. If not, let me know. I'll try to fix that. And so it's covering all this, not necessary for what we need to know. And it kept trying to do it kept trying to do N8N and Zapier, but I'm like, nope. Okay. Then I asked another question because I'm nerdy. Can I do this directly in my Mac terminal? And it was like, yes. And it told me why that would work and why it wouldn't work. And it gave me the instructions. And then it said what the breakdown would be. Make or Zapier are paid, but they're easiest. No maintenance, no coding, runs in the cloud. That's why I think it's the easiest. Then N8N came out kind of be free or self-hosted, but then you got to do some other stuff that's a little nerdy for you guys. I'm like, nope, let's leave that alone. And then, of course, I can do the shell script one, but I want to make it easy. Came up with a good hybrid option. So we kept running down. I go, okay, a couple of feasibility things. Sorry for being such a hardhead. Do you think there's a way to running of this from an Alfred workflow or text expander? It said yes, but it told me that both of those are dumb. And I do have Alfred and text expander, but it told me why those are dumb. So we're going to skip over that. I said Zapier, I never know which way to say it. Do you think the process could be run within the constraints of the free plan? Say you're doing $50 a month. And it said yes. But then it dawned on me that Make is better. So let's skip over that. I'm sorry, it's taking a minute. It goes, run that same analysis for Make. And it says, perfect. You're thinking exactly like a system builder now. I love that. Good feedback. Kiss my butt, make me feel better. It says, let me break down the same automation concept for Make and how it compares to Zapier. And so this is what it gave us. Make is usually suited better than Zapier for these workflows. I could do probably like 1,000 a month like this, which I'm never going to do. And it allows complex branching loops even on a free program. And I can use the custom HTTP requests that we need for APIs like Google Books or Amazon API. And the pooling interval is the same about every 15 minutes. For your case, scraping the metadata like $50 a month, free tier is lots of headroom. So here's what it told me. Make would be perfect. I could do 1,000. I could probably pull in like 100 megabytes a month. I could make it run every 15 minutes. The number of services is all in there. And if I want this to run quicker, I could probably use the next higher up plan and that will straighten it out. Anyway, it says it's the way to go. And now it's giving me the instructions on how to build it. So I am going to build this and I'll probably record how I'm building it. It's giving me the difference in what the easy use is over the Zapier version. It's giving some example scenarios, like watch the database, get the book data, use JSON to parse in that stuff, and then update the database item. I could also add a router to branch between Amazon and Goodread links. I can add tools like a sleep module to space out the API calls so it doesn't do too many at a time, which is smart. It could even add error handling to figure out the metadata problems, and it comes up with the cost and the complexity. And yeah, this was just really cool. So I love this setup. Very brilliant. It's telling me to go ahead, and it says, now, would you like me to outline the exact make module in order to get this to work? And I'm going to go ahead and tell it yes, and then I'm going to go back and show you what make looks like. So let me jump over to the browser real quick. Wait, I'm in the browser. So here's make.com. So I'm going to go ahead and create an account, which I just did. And at the end of the day, this free program should work. If we got to the point where we wanted to just keep doing it because we got other stuff where we could do with Make, which I'm probably going to do because Notion and Make automations are pretty tight, I would probably go to the $9 a month, which if you pay monthly, it's $10.59. But if you do it on an annual plan, it's $9 a month. I know a lot of my contemporaries use Make.com, so I thought this might be a good way to do this. So I went ahead and I set up my Make account. And then I was just looking here in the back end at some of the templates that are already available, like send Notion items to ChatGPT and have it update that database with your results. There's all myriad sorts of things in here. One thing that's cool about Zapier, it actually shows you what to do. Here's some top picks that you have built in here. And here are some tutorials on how to get everything to work. There's a bunch of cool stuff in here if you want to go and look around. And it can even do some AI building things for you. Now, of course, I'm on the Notion AI plan, so it could even build some more crazy things. I could go in here and check out what type of connections that I have. And already it has my ConvertKit connections, which is there. And then it has some Google restricted connections with it there. It does have webhooks. Let's look into templates real quick. And then under these templates, you can search by an app name. So let's go in here and type Notion. And then let's do a quick search, see some of the stuff that it could do, and sync Notion database to do the Google Calendar, so sync Notion database to calendar event, pull RSS feeds into Notion. That's actually pretty smart. I didn't think about that. Sites where there is news that I definitely want to stay up on, rather than me having to go to the site, read the news, and add it to Notion, I could just have it go and grab, the top, blog articles for that day. And then things I don't want, I can delete it. But that's a good way to backfill. All right, come on. I need to go full screen. That's a good way to backfill a knowledge base about something that you need to stay up to date on. So I'm thinking about my brother, Rich. And Rich might be wanting to stay up to date at what are the cool marketing campaigns that is going on for everybody, say, in the beverage industry, right? So it would search, like an RSS feed can search the PR Web, the InBev blog, the Jim Beam Suntory blog, looking for press releases, all myriad sorts of things for products that are coming out. You could build an RSS feed that does that. You could have Make automatically grab those articles and drop them into a Notion page called Industry News. And it's just going to get the links to all of those articles. Considering if you're on a Notion paid plan, you got a lot more space for data. You can have it actually pull in the text of those articles, no images. You want just the text so that it can keep the size small. But then when you use the Notion AI to go in, write something or look up something or do any research, all of that stuff is already in your knowledge base. So it's going to use that knowledge base as the context to build what it is that you're building. That's kind of brilliant. That's kind of brilliant. And again, you could do what I do. If you have one of these crazy ideas, just ask Claude or ChatGPT to show you or talk to you through it so you can go and build it. And this is what I mean, like using AI for things other than just whole cloth lying to you about stuff. You can watch an updated Notion database automatically. You can send Notion items in Gmail. There's a lot of cool stuff. It create tasks from Todoist and have it automatically feed in. Create iCal calendar events. Like there's a lot in here. I'm going to suggest you go in here and peek around and see if any of this pops your interest. But I think this is cool. So I am going to go ahead and build what we talked about, and hopefully I can get it to work. But if not, we'll see. And maybe I'll do a test build and then afterwards go back and see if I can make a video on how I did it. But since it's going to be a little step-by-step thing, it's kind of crazy. I highly suggest if you have an idea for something that can help you speed up your workflow. I know that Sam reached out and said, he's trying to figure out a good content calendar. And yes, you can just go grab some template from somewhere. But if you've been talking to your ChatGPT or your Claude for long enough and you wanted to have it build you a content calendar for the way that you normally produce, I think that's a thing. Let's see how long are we running. So we're 21 minutes now. I'm going to stop right now. But I have another idea, which I'm going to highly suggest you come back tomorrow. I want to build a context database for the last videos I've made for the last 365 days. So I'm going to look for a way to automate grabbing all the transcripts from all the videos that I put up for the last year and put them into individual database items on a Notion field. So it'll be video title, video link, and then the transcript. And I'm going to put that on a single page. And so that way, when I have it write scripts for me, it's going to write it based off the way I normally talk in these videos. And that's going to help because, as you know, a good 20-30% of my videos are just straight from the chest, no script. Actually, I don't really use script in general, but I mean, no outline, no nothing, just me talking. So especially it's going to pick up the transcripts from the live streams. So this is going to be real interesting. It's going to be real interesting. I don't know if I can do it yet, but I'm going to try. And I'm just letting you hear my ideas out loud because these are the kind of ideas I want you to push this sucker to do for you. Just think about that for a while. That's a little different than your standard AI fare. This is called getting actually productive with your AI. Now, I don't know who needs to hear this, but if it was you, let me know in the description below, in the comments below, Jesus. If you like this video, press the like button, press the subscribe button, ring the notification bell. If you want to play along with the old Notion November, we do have this link right here you can go to, or you can leave this comment in any of the videos on the channel and it will send you a link to jump in and come play around with us. And right about now, the algorithm is going to show you another video I think you should watch. And I agree with you.
Fumble a bag, now I will not fumble a bag. Fumble a bag, now I will not fumble a bag. Act like you know how this goes.